Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard over the last several months how businesses are trying to increase the wages to attract more workers. But the problem is the inflation is literally eating up the raise that people are getting. So they said this will actually start worsening as we move, from now even into next year. So I have some audio from NPR I want you to listen to.
We got some good news and some not so good news about the job market today. Employers are adding a lot of jobs, and wages are going up at a rapid pace. But those wage gains are not keeping pace with the high cost of living. And there's a danger that rising wages will make inflation even worse. NPR Scott Horsey joins us with details on today's jobs report. Hey, Scott. Hi. Job growth has been really strong for some time now. What stands out about April's numbers? That's right. U.S. employers added more than 400,000 jobs for the 12th month in a row in April. It's been a really remarkable string of gains. That's more than double the average number of jobs we were adding in the year before the pandemic. Last month saw lots of hiring in factories, in restaurants, in warehouses. Hotels added 22,000 jobs in April. Burrit Patel is a second generation hotel owner in Sarasota, Florida. He says hotels need more front desk clerks and housekeepers because a lot more people are traveling right now, and so more of his rooms are booked. Rates are through the roof. People want to travel, and so instead of going abroad or they're really enjoying the beaches and the national parks, the state parks, and people just want to get out. Like a lot of employers, Patel says he's boosting wages to attract the workers he needs. Average wages in April were up 5.5% from a year ago. So this remains a really hot job market. In fact, it's a little too hot for the inflation watchdogs at the Federal Reserve. Why too hot? What is the Fed worried about? The Fed's concerned that employers are going to pass these costs of higher wages along in higher prices, and that could make inflation, which is already at a 40-year high, even worse. That's why this week the Fed raised interest rates by half a percentage point in hopes of cooling off inflation. The Fed also telegraphed additional similar size rate hikes could be in store in June and July. And how will rising interest rates affect the job market? Well, the rising cost of borrowing is designed to temper demand, and we might be getting a sneak preview in the housing market. The average cost of a home mortgage has jumped sharply in anticipation of the Fed's actions. It's now above 5.25%. And Robert Dietz, who's chief economist with the National Association of Home Builders, says the industry is feeling that pinch. The housing market is definitely slowing at this point. The rise in mortgage rates has harmed housing affordability, particularly for prospective first time buyers. It's not just the rate itself, but it's the down payment. Now, Dietz doesn't expect a collapse in housing, but construction companies added only 2,000 workers last month, which is a big slowdown from the months before. Some other businesses that thrived during the pandemic, like Amazon and Clorox, have also reported a slowdown in their need for workers. And this is kind of what the Fed wants to see throughout the economy, some cooling of demand and inflation, but not so much cooling that it tips the economy into recession. So, on balance, was this a good jobs report? It was very good. The unemployment rate held steady at 3.6%. That's the lowest since the start of the pandemic. Unemployment among African Americans and Latinos actually declined. One disappointing piece in this report, though, the labor force actually shrank in April after big gains in February and March. You'd like to see the labor force growing to provide some additional breathing room in what remains a very, very tight labor market. It's NPR's chief economics correspondent, Scott Horsley. Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay. Now, that is a complaint a lot of people are having. They're saying they are getting bigger wages on these jobs, but because of the inflation, the big jump in gas prices, the food prices going up, and just the cost of living in America is skyrocketing to the point where even with a raise, people are still feeling the pain of all of the inflation. And that's why so many are complaining about the Democratic Party and Joe Biden, especially just sending all this money overseas, and people right here under their noses are suffering. There's a food shortage. I mean, I can't believe what a lot of the store shelves look like. And y'all just remember, they never resolved the containers all built up at these ports. That situation has never been resolved. A lot of those things are still in containers and going on well past a year. And instead of being on shelves, they're just still sitting at these ports unmoved. So, Biden hasn't done a thing about that. And there are so many people complaining about the gas prices, and there's parts of the country where gas is $6 and $7 a gallon, and well past that amount in some areas. And it's ridiculous. And then we're watching all of the money going overseas to non citizens. This country is not even part of NATO. They technically should not be nothing to us. But Biden has taken them on almost like a stepchild. He just want to take care of them and make sure they got everything they need, but over here in America, everybody don't have what they need here. And evictions are skyrocketing across the country, and more people are afraid, that they cannot hang on too much longer with the way things are going in America. That's all the more reason why we need our reparations. And if we are paying our taxpayer money, it should go towards things here in America. Now, we've been robbed out of our taxpayer money, is going to people that hate us instead of going to our own communities where we live and where things need to be done, and people need to have access to loans so they can start businesses and have that in their own neighborhoods. But it just makes life harder, and a lot of people are struggling, and you're watching a president care more about people that have no connection to this nation and are not entitled to our taxpayer money. And he's trying to make sure and compensate them where they don't need or want for anything. Just mind boggling, isn't it? Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.